Several years ago, the Obama administration announced a $1.25 billion settlement to resolve charges by thousands of black farmers who say that for decades, the Agriculture Department discriminated against them in loan programs. The settlement is a continuation from what is known as the Pigford case, named after Timothy Pigford, a soybean and corn producer from North Carolina who started the federal lawsuit in 1997. Earlier today, John Boyd Jr., president of the National Black Farmers Association, stopped by to talk about the status of the settlement. John Boyd Jr., welcome back to UNC TV.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Now, you are the president of the National Black Farmers Association, and you are here in the state to recognize folks who were advocates in what was called the Pigford discrimination case, which involved discrimination among African-American farmers. For our viewers who may not know much about the case, give us a little background.
Right. Well, we were in North Carolina today recognizing James Scott Farron, who was one of the lead attorneys, and his firm played a vital role in really helping me file the late filers lawsuit, Black Farmers lawsuit. And this is a discrimination case that stemmed probably over 2 decades. And we had one settlement in 1999 where we thought we were going to be meritorious and everything was going to be over. And because so few black farmers had heard about the settlement, some 80,000 black farmers came after the filing deadline. So I began to, what the judge said, he was not going to let them be a part of the case without an act of Congress. So I spent another 10 years on Capitol Hill lobbying to have that case reopened, and it was reopened in 2008. That allowed the late filers to file their cases in court. But then I found out another hurdle had to be crossed when the judge said, well, the administration said, well, there's no money to compensate the farmers without Congress, by an act of Congress, and I spent another 2 years lobbying Congress for the $1.25 billion. And the president signed that bill into law on December 8th, 2010.
What was it like once the president had signed it into law, especially all the work that you had gone through, because this lawsuit actually went back as far as 1997.
Right.
What was going through your mind, and what was your reaction as well as some of the farmers that you represented?
It was very emotional because it was late at night. I think the president walked into one of the rooms at the White House where I was there and signed the bill. And it was maybe about 8 o'clock at night, and I began to think about all of the people that started out in the movement with me. Linwood Brown, Sylvester Warren, Welch's Long, Mr. Bowie. All of those persons were now deceased, and they didn't get to have that joyous moment with me to watch the president sign the Black Farmers Bill into law, where many people said that that would never happen. And we had some other victories along the way. The statute of limitations, which not only allowed the black farmers case to move forward in federal court, but it allowed the Native American case, the women's case, the Hispanic case. And I was criticized when I changed the language in that bill to open it up to those other minority groups and not just black farmers. I said injustice to black farmers, it must have happened with Indian farmers and women farmers and Hispanic farmers. So we had some victorious moments, and we had a whole lot of downtime where we were simply being told no, and that hurt. And it caused the black farmers to have a bad taste with the federal government. We lost millions of acres of land, during this struggle. And for me, the fight was about the land. And if the government had came to me when I filed my discrimination case and said, Mr. Brewer, we're going to let you stay on your farm, I never would have founded the National Black Farmers Association, because I was just as happy and content as I could be farming. All I ever wanted to be was a farmer. And when I faced discrimination at the hands of the United States Department of Agriculture and this county supervisor, the person that makes decisions on farm lending, spat on me or spit on me, whatever word you want to use, I think that was the lowest moment of my life, because I knew if I had reacted back to this county supervisor, I'd have been in federal penitentiary. And here I watched him, a white farmer came in, who he called Earl, and he passed Earl a check for $147,000 for a farm operating loan. And I was in the office literally pleading with this county supervisor for a $5,000 operating loan. And on his way out the door, he said, "Hey, Earl, you come back in here, boy, now next week now, and fill out your paperwork now, okay?" So here this guy had not even filled out the necessary forms to get a farm operating loan. And he got his money, and here I am, it's planting season, and I was literally in there pleading with this county supervisor who called me derogatory names. He said he wasn't going to lend me any of his money, and I thought it was the people's money, the taxpayers' money. This is the kind of discrimination that black farmers were open to on a daily basis.
Now that this settlement has taken place, what is next for African American farmers? Because you've talked about the loss in
Yes.
land and homes. What's the next step to try and build back up?
Well, one is to get young people, young black farmers and other minority farmers interested in farming and agribusiness. And we've been teaching our children that land ownership is a bad thing, the ability to produce enough food. Black people in this country produce less food per capita than any other race of people. That means we don't produce enough food to even feed our own population. And I want to change that by enticing and getting more young people involved in land ownership and showing them that instead of buying a new Cadillac, then to buy 5 acres of land out in the country. If you can afford a new Cadillac, you can afford 5 acres of land out in the country and grow a garden and start producing healthy food. That's the starting point. And because we came from slaves to sharecroppers, from sharecroppers to landowners and supposedly free agricultural farmers. But the government, the same government that was supposed to be giving us a hand up, was the same government who was giving us a hand down by taking our land and denying us loans, where it took 387 days to process on average for a black farm loan and less than 30 days to process a white farmer's loan. And if anybody knows anything about farming, if you don't plant on time, that means less money for you, during harvest time. So even though we were faced with the same challenges, rain and weather, we should not be faced with the act of discrimination by the hands of our own federal government, the people who should be treating everybody fairly.
John Boyd Jr., we thank you so very much for stopping by and sharing your insights, and much continued success to you, sir.
And we want everybody to come out to our conference this year. It's in Florida, and they can get more information off our website, blackfarmers.org or nationalblackfarmersassociation.org.